Alex Segura brings two fan-favorite Spider-Verse heroes together in prose for the first time in this thrilling, new time-hopping young adult adventure, Arana and Spider-Man 2099 Dark Tomorrow. So Anya Corazon, aka Arana, is groundbreaking Latinx superhero in this action-packed story about an unlikely friendship, perseverance, and what it means to be a hero. Alex is joining us this morning. Alex, thanks for being with us here on Hometown Living.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
Well, you're now a part of the Spider-Verse. You know, it's a fan favorite storyline. Of course, I have to ask you, did you grow up reading comic books? Was Spider-Man your favorite? What was the journey that brought you here?
I did. I was a comic book reader from a very early age. One of my earliest comic memories was getting a Spider-Man comic at the grocery store and just being immersed in that world of superheroes and that kind of colorful adventure.
And so being immersed in this world, you're now bringing these two characters together. What was that journey like?
I think it's interesting because you see two heroes at very different points. Arana is just starting out as a superhero. She doesn't have a mentor or kind of a roadmap to be a superhero, whereas Spider-Man 2099 is retired when you read the book, and he's a little more jaded and done with being a hero. But the theme of the book is really what we can learn from each other at any age. And so Miguel, Spider-Man 2099, learns a lot of important lessons from this teenager, Arana, and she at the same time learns a lot from him, which is kind of at the crux of the story.
You know, that intergenerational, what they can learn from each other, you know, comic books are so intergenerational as well. You know, you have grandparents and then parents and then now third generation kids reading them together. Do you see that as a way of bringing these generations together? I mean, stories that they've loved in times past, but then giving it a different spin and a different take on this?
Yeah, I think so. I see it with my own kids. I see them when they're reading comic books that I read as a child and how they experience them. My son's reading this book now, and it's kind of wild just that these stories and these icons, they're very much our modern mythology. They're the things that we look to over the years that kind of keep us talking and together.
You know, and you mentioned your own kids reading this book. So Spider-Man is really so beloved and really so appealing. You know, even Spider-Man in like the high school years really can relate to teenagers, and now even in this story, it's just an older generation. Why do you feel Spider-Man is still so relevant and what readers often gravitate towards?
What I think really resonates with people is that the Spider characters are just our everyman, every person type characters. You know, they are underdogs, they are facing insurmountable odds, and through humor and their own determination, they overcome these odds, and that's super relatable, especially today. I think we're all kind of striving and trying to do our best, and I think they really are inspirational in that way.
They really are trying to find the hero in us. So if somebody is kind of reading this young adult adventure, maybe they're new to Spider-Verse, new to graphic novels, to comic books, maybe this is their introduction to it. What would you hope would be their takeaway from that experience reading something in this format?
It's a great question. I hope that they're intrigued by the world and they want to explore it more and learn more about these great characters, and I hope they just have a fun time reading it. It's a story about learning from each other, but it's also a high level adventure, colorful villains, colorful characters, and a fun read.
You had mentioned, I believe, your son reading this book, and you know, with that storyline that you're telling us of the older generation learning something from the younger generation, did any of your own experience get infused into how that theme is coming to life?
Yeah, it's always funny to see people reading the same story, or this is literally a story I wrote, so it was interesting to see how he engaged with it and the things that kind of jumped out at him and the wonder of it. And that's something I try to tap into when writing, whether for any audience. You want to get people excited and engaged in your story.
We want people to get excited. Alex, thanks so much for joining us, for bringing us into Spider-Verse, especially the different generations, grandparents, parents, and now kids being a part of this experience. So thanks so much for joining us here on Hometown Living.
Thank you so much for having me.
We want to make sure you can get your hands on a copy, but also check out all of the works from Alex. So check out alexsegura.com for more information, see other projects that he has been working on.